Hi, I'm J.R. Harris, and on today's video, we're going to go over some quick thoughts on art education and how to approach learning to be a career artist. So, the first thing I always tell people, especially younger kids, high schoolers, or those in college, is to know the field you're going to go in if you want to be a freelance artist, or just you want to work as an artist in general. Whether you're hired by a company or you work purely on your own. I think overall, though, it's important to know the field you want to get into, whether it could be illustration, animation, painting, comic books, children's books, film, storyboarding. The amount of art jobs there are nowadays is insane and basically limitless. So doing your research, learning about them, learn the requirements, listen to speeches, listen to TED Talks, listen to people actually who are in that job talking about the job, absorb as much as you can about that field. Because it might not be the job you're expecting it to be, or there might be things in that job that you don't want to be doing, and that way you can kind of steer yourself toward the right job that you're interested in. One of the best quotes I can think of, and I don't know if the people I've heard it from got it from someone, but essentially you need to be okay with the best days and the worst days. It's the only way you'll be able to survive with that job as an artist, or just it kind of applies to really anything, but a career, especially in art, because you will have amazingly cool days when it comes to any art job. I mean, that's why all of these artists do what they do. But you're also going to have terrible days. You're going to have those deadlines that you're behind on. You're going to have people who are just not willing to cooperate, or people who just do not understand how you operate, or there will be days that suck, days that just don't go well. And that's just a part of every job out there. There's no job out there that is so perfect that you're never going to have confrontation or problems ever. It's just, that's a fairy tale. And the quicker I think that you realize that, or the quicker you come to terms with that, I think the better off you'll be as far as your perspective going into a career. The thing we can focus on a little bit today, because the field I'm in is comic books, illustration, or just children's books, and overall just telling stories with your art. I've done a few presentations at local libraries near me in the past few years about this exact thing, and I always spend way too much time talking about the fundamentals of art. And this can be applied in just about any art field out there when it comes to drawing or drawing related or creating, is anatomy, lighting, perspective, and color theory. And the reason why is because those four things really can apply to a lot. Like, let's say you're doing... Specifically, you're going into animation just about horses or just about animals. Like, that still falls under anatomy. You still have to know how to draw horses, right? Or just animals in general. Typically, anatomy applies to human anatomy, but it's also good to break out of the mold a little bit and learn a lot more than just straight up human anatomy. Lighting, perspective, color theory, those three kind of all come together in different ways. If you can draw a person, if you can put them in a room with perspective, if you can color that person with color theory, and if you can know how a room is lit with the lighting, those are your fundamentals. Sure, there's techniques and details that kind of go along with that. There's subcategories of these fundamentals, but those, to me, are the ones to learn the most. And it's the ones that I think not everybody's comfortable with, and it's also kind of knowing what you are good at too when it comes to doing these fundamentals. And just because you like drawing with a pencil doesn't mean that you shouldn't try anything else. And just because you're good with it, you shouldn't try anything else. I think when you're learning, you're always going to have that one thing you really enjoy doing. But there is a huge amount of worth. It's priceless to be able to learn so many different mediums and styles. Painting, using color, like, if just like me, when I was growing up, I used pencil only. I'd use ink pens, but I would draw them like with a pencil. And Not until after high school did I actually start learning color a little bit better. Perspective was never really a problem for me, as far as the fundamentals of it, but I still learned a lot. I picked up on perspective quickly, so it was never much of a challenge, but there was still plenty I didn't know. Mainly 3-point perspectives was the big one. And it's not something that's going to happen overnight, but if you just find the right people, find the right places, if you find the right teachers, in whatever form they may come, they will bring you to that point, or they will teach you to be able to understand it. Obviously, it's learning. And that kind of brings me to the point of seeking out the learning. It's learning these kinds of things, the fundamentals, is not going to just there are a lot of self-taught artists. I'm self-taught to a degree, but where I am today would have not happened without the art mentors, the art teachers, and the communities that I've built and have been a part of. I would say the 3 main things to look for would be just straight up college is the kind of the generic one. Just local enrichment classes, or local tutors, mentors, internships for artists. Anything you can find that someone is teaching. And it's important to remember too, is you gotta be able to get along with the person, especially if you're doing a tutor or a mentor or an internship. You don't want to be with someone who you just absolutely can't stand, because that's not going to help you at all. But I think the basic idea of getting all of these, learning from all these places or people, is the constructive criticism that is around you. It's important. Praise, excessive praise, and only praise will hurt you in the long run. It doesn't challenge you. You don't have expectations to exceed. If everyone always tells you that you're doing a really good job and that's it, you're never going to want to try for more. You might, but the drive won't be as strong. But if someone says, I love it, however, you immediately want to be defensive. You really want to know what is it that you're telling me? And you might agree, you might not, but at least it's planting these seeds of, it's driving you. And learning to take constructive criticism is difficult, but it is very important. It's a tough road, but the schooling, art education, comes in a lot of different forms, and finding what works for you is the most important aspect. If you don't have that teaching, if you don't have those fundamentals, if you don't have any of that, it will show in your work, and it will really impede your ability to be successful, and for people to really want to work with you or want to hire you later on in whatever career path you're choosing. You don't have to be perfect, but it helps to learn the fundamentals and the basics. That is honestly the heart of art education. Thank you so much for checking out this video today. I'm going to be doing more of these quick thoughts videos because I want to talk more about art education, more about steps to becoming a freelancer, and there's just so much to talk about, and it's hard to do 20-30 minute videos all the time. So I'm going to be doing more of these quick thought videos, which kind of are an overview of what's to come and what's going to be explored a bit more. So like this video and subscribe for more videos if you want to check those out. And if you want to see more of my art and comics, head on over to jrcomicart.com.